This is Backstage Bay Area, your all-access pass to the local music scene. Now here's your host, Steve Roby.
Today on Backstage Bay Area, we'll explore the ethereal mind-bending world of The Third Mind. This supergroup blends freeform psychedelia, blues, and post-punk with a touch of improvisational magic. Featuring Grammy winner Dave Allen, bassist Victor Krummenacher, Jesse Sykes' captivating vocals, and more, this band delivers a sound that defies convention. Joining me today is Victor Krummenacher, bassist extraordinaire and co-founder of both camper van Beethoven and The Third Mind. Victor brings decades of experience, boundless creativity, and a passion for pushing musical boundaries. Throughout the show, we'll play tracks from their soon-to-be-released concert album, Live Mind. Let's start today's show with Sally Go Round the Roses. It's Third Mind on Backstage Bay Area.
See a baby with another girl. roses, they can't hurt you. Sally, don't you go downtown. Sally, don't you go downtown. 'Cause the saddest thing in the whole wide world, see your baby with another girl.
That's The Third Mind with Sally Go Round the Roses. It's from their upcoming concert release called Live Mind. It's on Yep Rock Records. The group's bassist, Victor Krummenacher, is my guest today. Hey, Victor, welcome to the show.
Hey, how are you?
Great, it's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
Victor, can you tell us how The Third Mind came together and your vision for the band?
Well, vision is complicated on this. I used to go see Dave play quite a bit, and we had a fear-fueled conversation about an idea he had to do a residency at the Club Slims in San Francisco that involved assembling different styles of bands, i.e. a Grateful Dead style band, a bluegrass band, a country band, all. And each evening he was going to do a residency, and each evening he was going to have a different style band play a version of Trucking by the Grateful Dead. And I'm not sure how serious he was, but the idea kind of wedged in my mind. And when I left San Francisco, I wound up living in the LA area. We were texting, and I said, if you want to try something in a studio like that, I could probably put together a group of people and we could just go and see what happens. And so that's essentially what happened. Is we had this harebrained scheme, and I had been working on a project with David Emmerglick from the Counting Crows, who's an old friend and an old bandmate. And Michael Jerome was involved in another project that I was associated with. And so I just called them on a whim because they're extraordinary musicians. And then the studio was free all on the same day. And things like this never happen when you put together a musical project at all. They just don't happen. And because everybody was free, I texted Dave and said, let's go. And so what do we do? And I'm like, well, I'm not really sure about that, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. And Tom and Gran was East-West, the Paul Butterfield modal blues improvisation from 1966. And we did that, and it was smoking on the second take. And so we just looked at each other and said, let's make a record. And then we made a record. And Dave had the idea when we got together for the second time to bring in Jessie Sykes to sing Morning Dew. And then it turned out that Jessie's she's an extraordinary vocalist and really kind of fit the band really well. And so we kind of morphed in a certain way. And then now every couple of years we get together and walk in a box and try and figure out what we're going to do again.
So the lineup features members with incredible musical resumes. Can you tell us who makes up the group?
Well, it's Dave Alden, songwriter extraordinaire, great guitar player. If you're an LA-based person like I am, you know him from the Blasters. But he's really been a solo musician since, I guess, about 86 or so when he left that band. I love Dave. He's been a good mentor and a good friend. And every band I've ever seen him put together has been great. So kind of working with that template. Our drummer is a guy named Michael Jerome. Michael's played with John Cale. He's been in Richard Thompson's band for 25 years. Played with Charlie Musselwhite. We have this last summer he was out on tour with Splash. He's the regular drummer in Better Than Ezra. He gets the award for Best Human Being, and he's just an extraordinary drummer, great fun to work with. Jessie Sykes had a band called The Sweet Hereafter for many years. She really operates kind of on a solo basis now. She's based out of Seattle and Ames, Iowa, and she's, how best to describe her, I would just say kind of a combination of Karen Dalton and Sandy Denny. She's got a very unique and kind of ethereal voice that really lends itself to great readings of the kind of tunes that we tend to pick, which tend to be thesis of the band is a psychedelic folk band. Because that's just kind of the best description that we can kind of come up with. And
Sure.
Jessie just fits the bill as just kind of the great chanteuse. She does a fantastic job. And myself on bass, and then we alternate guitar players in the studio. We tend to lean on David Immerglick. You talked about earlier. David and I have been making music since about 86. He's lead guitar player and kind of musical director of the Counting Crows. That's his main gig. He's got a big, real full-time job in music. But Amy's played with part of the Jesse Malin tribute in New York. He's played with everybody at this point as well. And then live, we were with Mark Cannon, who played with Phil Lesh and the other ones.
Right.
And he was in Rat Dog for many years. I've known Mark for many years just because I lived in the Bay Area for a long time, and several people I know have played music with him. We shared actually a rhythm section for a period of time. When we were looking for somebody to work with things live, I kind of felt like maybe bringing somebody who was actually in the Grateful Dead camp might lend itself to what we were doing, and it turns out he was a really good choice for us. When we play live, like this live record that you just played this track from, the set is the same. The approach every night is different. It's the most kind of freewheeling group of people that I've worked with, and I think the general feeling is that we don't want to kind of. I've been in many bands, and bands kind of operate in. There are two general modes. One is your loose and one is your tight. And the tight mode is great. I really grew up self-taught, listening to a lot of punk rock. And that mode works really well. But as I've gotten older and played more music, I like to be able to explore. And so the one thing we do is do not play the set the same way every night. Jessie, the vocalist, she kind of floats, right? So there's a lot of listening on the spot that has to be in effect to get the changes right. And so basically every time we hit the stage, even though we know what the set list is in general, or we'll probably change it for this next run of shows. We don't know what's going to happen. And it makes it kind of volatile, and it also makes it really magical and transcendent when it works. And we played about 20 times, I think, because it's hard to get everybody in the same place at the same time. But when it works, and it works most of the time, it's pretty incredible.
Well, let's talk about the new concert album, Live Mind. It's due out in February, and we opened the show with Third Mind's rendition of Sally Go Round the Roses. What inspired you to cover this classic track, and where was it recorded? I understand there's two different venues that the tracks come from.
Primarily, these live versions are from Ventura. I think Ventura Music Hall was the gig there, and the Troubadour. Sally Go Around the Roses, it kind of goes back and forth between Dave, Jessie, and I as far as what we choose to cover. And on the record Third Mind 2, the second album we did, Dave chose many of the songs. And this was just a song that he had a particular affinity to. If you know the original version, it's more kind of a girl group song.
Right.
It's more kind of a Ronettes kind of thing. And when we started going at it in the studio, it just unfolded in a certain way. Really, with that band, we don't know. It's kind of got this, there's a rock and roll bossa nova feel to it and the rhythm to it. But it took a little while to kind of reveal itself as what it's become. But we really just started playing it really simply in the studio. And then Jessie's got this plain and vocal quality to it that really, there's always a bittersweet element with things like the Ronettes, with kind of Phil Spector-ish, early 60s pop. And Jessie gets that kind of ennui, but in a different kind of darker direction. It's one of my favorite things that we did. And then just kind of the creativity of the guitar players. Dave is really, he would tell you, he's a blues-based guitar player. But Immerglick will contrast that with things that you really wouldn't think about, say Sonny Chirac or something like that. More jazz-based, more kind of Zoid-based. And it really lends itself to putting voices that you're familiar with, Dave and Jessie's, in different contexts. And I think that's even what the name is really kind of about of the band, is just based on this. We were talking about names for it. I referenced that. It's a William Burroughs, Brian Geisen book, which is really when Burroughs started doing cut-up work. And I think it's really basically what we're doing. We're kind of a cut up band. We're taking things from different places, then trying to put it together in a way that feels both traditional but also fresh. And that's a difficult thing in the rock world when so many things have been kind of worked and worked and worked.
Right.
It's just try and find a place. And also, I think we're very into the idea that improvisation is essentially, it's an artistic statement about freedom, not to get too deep about things, but that's really what it is.
Sure.
When you're not on script and you're really trying to communicate musically, that's essentially what you're trying to do, is give a nod towards open-endedness and give a nod towards freedom, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So we've all been playing music for quite a while. It's a beautiful thing to get up on stage and see Dave pushing himself and trying to go in different directions, and then just working with a bunch of people who can keep up and work in the moment. Yeah. And I think it's made us all grow, and I think it's also made us feel pretty grateful that we're able to do something so unique and so special.
Absolutely.
Dave says it's not for everybody, but I tend to think that people who are deep into music and are kind of broad-based in what they like are evidences is that they're really attracted to what this project is.
Absolutely. I'm going to play Morning Dew next. This version is both haunting and powerful. What does the song mean to you, and how does the live energy shape its performance?
It was an interesting choice because one of the things that we discussed was, when we did the first record, was to have a Grateful Dead. The song is not written, it's not a Hunter Garcia song, it's a Bonnie Dobson song, but it's part of the Grateful Dead repertoire.
Sure, yeah.
And so we really wanted something out of that, just to kind of hint at the nature of what we were trying to do. Like, a lot of people, I think of Dave as, the pompadour guy. They think about the blasters, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's felt kind of caged by that, because if you know Dave, he didn't grow up singing. He saw a lot of blues, but he saw Jimi Hendrix. He saw a lot of things like Quicksilver, John Sebastian, Love and Spankle. These are all very big, and Zappa is very big in Dave's world. And I think part of what we're trying to do is give voice to that side of him, right? And that's music that we all collectively love. So when we chose Morning Dew, I think we were just thinking in terms of it being one of the great things in the Grateful Dead catalog. What's really happened since we started playing is that the world is just unsettled, and
yes,
the truth of the song is that it's a dialogue between man and woman after the bomb's gone off.
Right.
And so the weight of the song has just gotten heavier as world events have changed. It's a protest song.
Yeah.
And we're really just trying to give voice to the troubles, as it were.
Absolutely.
We're in a difficult place. Because of the circumstances politically and globally, I think it can be difficult to dialogue, and I think we're just trying to maintain an awareness of where we're at when we're playing. I think it's just, it's just going to get heavier as we play more, basically.
Well, let's take a listen to it now. This is Morning Dew. It's Third Mind here on Backstage Bay Area.
Me out in the morning dew, my honey. Walk me out in the morning dew today. I can't walk you out in the morning dew, my honey. I can't walk you out in the morning dew today. heard a baby cry this morning. I thought I heard a baby cry today. You didn't hear no baby cry this morning. You didn't hear no baby cry today. Where have all the people gone, my honey? Where have all the people gone today? You don't need to be worried about all those people. You never see those people anyway. Thought I heard a young man moan this morning. I thought I heard a young man moan today. You didn't hear no young man moan this morning. I can't walk you in the morning dew today. Walk me out, walk me out, walk me out in the morning dew. Walk me out, walk me out, walk me out in the morning dew. Well, I can't walk you out in the morning dew, my honey. can't walk you in the morning dew today. And I guess it doesn't matter anyway. And I guess it doesn't matter anyway. Walk me out in the morning. Walk me out. And I guess it doesn't matter anyway. And I guess it doesn't matter anyway. Walk me out in the morning dew.
From Third Mind, it's Morning Dew here on Backstage Bay Area. Its co-founder, Victor Krummenacher, is our guest today. Victor, with so much talent in one group, how do you approach songwriting and arranging? You talked a little bit about it before, but how does everyone ensure that they have their voice heard?
I think because we've had so much experience, and everybody in the band, when I first really got to know Dave, he was the guitar player in Sid Straw's band. And he's worked with Tom Waits, he's worked with Bob Dylan. Dave knows how to be in a support role, and he also knows how to lead. Everybody in the band, for the most part, has been in situations like that. So really what we're capable of doing is you got to turn off the ego to some degree. Mm-hmm. Ego is important for a musician because you have to embrace what your skill level is with some confidence to really achieve what you want to do musically. But that balance of getting your ego out of the way and listening, the way we really conduct ourselves in the studio is super organic. And I think that's one of the inspiring things about it. And I think people respond to it. We set up close to each other. We sit in a circle basically and look at each other and watch each other's hands and listen to what each other are playing and just go from there. On the songs, we have actually written a few things together. It's really based on performance in the moment. And we just let things unfold. And I think if you listen to Tall Grass, which is the core of the song, essentially is written by Dave and Jesse, the way it unfolded in the studio, it just did what it did. I think that's testimony to the skill level in the band when you can get a group of people together and just let things go. So we're getting ready to go back in the studio right now. And I think the key thing about when we're texting back and forth every day, and I am working hard with people, is let's just not overthink it. It's worked twice. I can't imagine it's not going to work the third time. So just think to yourself about how to make it a little bit different and just let it go.
Yeah.
And I think it's that simple. If you are a musician, you're going to work your salt and you listen, things just happen. I mean, one of the things we've always referenced is Miles Davis. There are so many great Miles Davis records, especially from the late 60s and early 70s, where they just kind of go into the studio and let go. And then Miles takes the tapes and goes and splices them together in a way that he sees fit.
Yeah,
that's not dissimilar to how we work.
Those great jazz fusion days for Miles were great.
Yeah, they're fantastic.
Yeah. Let's discuss your cover of East West by Michael Bloomfield. Brings me back to my days of listening to K-San in San Francisco.
Sure.
It's such a classic. How did you approach arranging it for Third Mind?
Well, that was another thing where we didn't script it, but we did know, I think we kind of knew intuitively two things. We knew that we wanted to drive it a little harder because Dave and Amy are really capable of kind of being bulls in the china shop in as far as how they play. They're both very, very forceful. Michael and I can keep up with that. So I think that was part of it, was just be a little bit more aggressive. And then the other thing too was to try and lend our own voices to it. It's a quintessential improvisation vehicle for Bloomfield. And Bloomfield's a huge influence on both David Immerglick and Dave Alvin, and to the degree that Emmy actually owns one of Michael Bloomfield's guitars in part of the session. It's not actually used on the song. It was hanging on the wall while we were playing.
Wow.
And so I think in part, one part of it's tribute to the influence of music like that. I think music like that, Amy and I are a little bit younger than Dave. And I think for us, that was music that was done by the time we discovered it. I think Dave was actually able to participate as a listener a little bit more directly in it. But for us, discovering stuff like that gave mind to being able to go open in a rock format. And that's a dangerous thing. The jam band thing has a certain, if you come to punk rock world like I do, the jam band thing has a certain weight that doesn't always align with aesthetics. But I do have a great love for bands. I've known Nels Cline for a long time, since his days in the Geraldine Fibbers, and watching Nels play with Wilco and their ability to kind of hold it tight and play the song and then just go off, like when they play Impossible Journey or a song like that, and they can just go into the moment. That's always been very inspiring to me. And some bands I've been in can do that. You have to kind of understand what a band is organically. A camper band Beethoven doesn't really have moments of huge improvisation. We have at points in our career, but for the most part, because the band's really known for these tighter, shorter songs, that's what we do. As a result, there was always some tension in that band because there were people like me wanting to stretch out more. So just having a vehicle of great players where we can stretch out is super inspiring. And I think it's the common ground that we share, is just get in a room plug in, make some noise, and see where it's going. It's really about listening. It's about a dialogue. And that was, I think, one of the reasons we chose East West as the first song that we recorded was just to see what the dialogue was, to see how we play as improvisers together. And it works.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we knew that day, like, well, this works.
This song is an incredible live version of it. It's East West. It's 14 minutes long. Let's take a listen to it now, here on Backstage Bay Area. That's Third Mind with East West, a track from their upcoming concert album called Live Mind. We're wrapping up our interview with Victor Krummenacher. Victor, in addition to the new album, what projects are you most excited about in 2025?
Well, 2025 is going to be an interesting and busy year for me. We have the Third Mind record comes out in February, and we're going to do some additional shows over the course of the year. We're kind of plotting that out right now, but we do have some things in California coming up in March. And then for me, on another note, Tampa Band Beethoven is celebrating its 40th anniversary
Wow.
of its first album. I'm amazed that I'm that old and that alive. But we are playing at the Fillmore in San Francisco on the 26th and 27th of April to celebrate the 40th anniversary of Telephone Free landslide victory. And so my year is going to kind of oscillate between probably playing some solo acoustic shows and doing Third Mind and camper stuff as we are able to. It's going to be a good year.
Yeah, it sounds like a busy one too.
It should be. I mean, I'm one of those got to juggle multiple bands and multiple jobs to make everything work. So it's going to be a busy year.
Well, you've got two highly anticipated shows coming up, one in Sonoma and one in San Francisco. What can fans look forward to at these concerts?
Well, I think because we're going to go in the studio on Thursday and we're going to, in theory, make the majority of a new record before then. I have a feeling when we get together a week from today and rehearse, we're going to throw a bunch of new songs out on the floor and see which ones stick. One thing I love about working with Dave is he's not scared to we've thrown in new songs at soundcheck. So I love being on my toes, and I think that's what people have to look forward to. You're certainly going to get some Morning Dew, and you're going to get some Sally Go Around the Roses. There are things we know work really, really well live, and we'll certainly lean on those because I think we're excited to see after a few months off. Everybody's been playing, but we haven't been playing with each other, so I think we're excited to see what's going to happen now that we know what we do a little bit better. We didn't have really proof of concept so much until last year because we were just unable to play live because of COVID. So I would anticipate if you come to see us, if you saw us in January or February last year, there'll be a couple of the songs that you recognize that we're probably going to throw a few new things at you that I'm not sure which ones yet, but we got a list of songs where we're going to, it'll be hopefully a new original, maybe an instrumental.
All right.
And certainly some choice nuggets from the 1960s and early 70s.
Sounds exciting. And let me remind our listeners, you can catch Third Mind on Friday, December 20th at the Sebastiani Theatre in Sonoma and in San Francisco at the Chapel on Saturday, December 21st. Ticket links for each of these events will be in the show notes for this podcast. Also, please stop by thethirdmind.com and check out their cool merch. You guys got some really cool merch there. You can also find albums, CDs, and clothing too. Yeah. Victor, thanks so much for stopping by the show today and good luck with the new album.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. Thanks for having me.
Backstage Bay Area will be right back.
Hey, musicians. Would you like to be a guest on Backstage Bay Area? Just email the host and let him know when you'll be playing in the Bay Area. The address is backstage.sfbay@gmail.com. Thank you for tuning into the Backstage Bay Area podcast. Don't forget to visit us online at backstagebayarea.com for more insights and stories. Be sure to join us next time for more engaging conversations with local talent and touring musicians. Until then, keep the music alive, and we'll see you backstage.